What's up, Bean Crew? Today is World Schizophrenia Day, and something you may not know about me is that I have schizophrenia. I was diagnosed when I was 17 years old, and I got with a psychologist, got on some medication, and talked to some therapists, and I was able to have a real turnaround, and I got a lot healthier. And something you may not know about schizophrenia is that it's not an end-all to be-all. Once you get diagnosed with it, there are all sorts of resources, especially in Canada, to help you, gain control of yourself and become, you know, a lot of who you were before. You may never be fully who you were before, but there is a lot of stuff that you can learn and do and find to help yourself get healthy again. Schizophrenia is widely considered to be the most debilitating mental illness a human being can have. And it can be difficult to have a way of life in which you don't know the difference between reality and your delusion. For me, for example, I have a delusion in which I believe that I'm a 3,000-year-old wizard with crazy magical powers. I believe that I see ghosts and demons and angels and gods and stuff like that. And, that's a big part of my life. And I spend a lot of time, talking to these ancient things, from far beyond. And, it can be a huge time waster. It can be a big distraction. It can be, scary in moments, when you're fighting a demon. And then, like, sometimes, you know, you end up making a fool of yourself because you, you think you have magic powers and the magic powers just don't work. And it can get dangerous in ways that you might think you're immortal, so maybe you're a little bit more reckless. And that's when the importance of coming and getting a diagnosis, talking to a psychologist, and proving to yourself that you do have a mental illness, and maybe becoming more aware of that, so you can try to defeat it or avoid slipping into the delusion again. I find that I have long periods in which I am normal. Now that I'm, well, I don't want to say normal, but I have long periods in which I don't have the delusion. I'm out of it, and I may have a week or two in which I slip back into the delusion now that I'm on medication. But before the medication, it was more like I was in the delusion for 3 weeks, and then I'd have maybe a week without it. And medication can help a lot in that way. The important thing to remember is that schizophrenics are people with a difficult and complicated disease. And nobody knows what causes this disease. Scientists theorize that often it's trauma that causes it. And, being soft with people, being kind and helpful and guiding them towards getting out of their delusion is really the best thing I can recommend for a person with maybe a schizophrenic friend or family member, is just helping them.